entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay. Welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections for elevating your business. Welcome to Getting the Edge with Kelly Wilson. And here's your host, Kelly Wilson.
Welcome to Getting the Edge. I'm your host, Kelly Wilson. Thank you so much for being with us today. Getting the Edge is a great opportunity to highlight amazing business professionals and business owners and leaders in our community. It's a great way. I love highlighting them, talking about their products and services, but what I'm really passionate about is sharing their story and their journey and the trials and tribulations and really just learning from their experiences. I'm a firm believer that we can learn a lot from each other. So if you've watched any of our previous Getting the Edge shows, you know that. So today is really all about getting to know our guest, and this guest this week we have Chandler Jerrico. Really excited to have Chandler on the show today. He is the founder and CEO of Rebuilt Meals, so we're going to learn all about Rebuilt. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Really excited. Getting the Edge is a product of Edge Business Magazine. We've just recently launched our spring issue of Edge Business Magazine, which highlights the accomplishments of Malio and Carmine Ivaroni. This is my draft copy here, but really excited about the new issue. You can go to edgebusinessmagazine.com or visit us on Facebook at Edge Business for additional details and to view the free online digital version. And so really excited, great leaders, great editorial, a lot of information on leadership, tech, growth, a lot of great community collaboration. So look forward to bringing those to you quarterly, or I'd love to do them even more often, but right now they're quarterly. So again, make sure you check out the latest issue of Edge Business Magazine. So really excited again to talk to Chandler and learn about Rebuilt Meals, and really again want to talk about that, but also you and I have had some time to sit down and talk, and I think for your development and growth that you've experienced in the last so many years, I was impressed by, because a lot of times I think younger people in general too. I was younger once. You know, we just go through life so fast, and a lot of times things happen to us and circumstances and different paths that we take, and we don't often take the time to reflect on those and why things are happening. And a lot of times, and you know, we're all at fault to do it. We just continue making the same mistakes, or not same mistakes, same decisions, because they're not necessarily mistakes, but over and over. So we'll get to a lot of that and kind of learn, you know, growth language later. Tell us about Rebuilt. What is Rebuilt Meals?
Yeah, so we are a meal prep company. You know, we launched this company, was completely founded by complete accident. Just kind of like
yeah,
really,
I love those.
Yeah, fell into it. You know, all my other previous business ventures have been pre-planned and strategizing and all of those things in between. This was complete by accident, and so I was just someone who worked out and knew how to cook my own food, and I wanted to help other people be able to eat healthy that were constantly on the go. And so we started cooking the food, putting them in individual containers, and then delivering them to people's houses, because I was a personal trainer. So the biggest thing that people always had a big issue about was not knowing how to cook the food, not wanting to cook the food, and if they did cook the food, they always forgot it at their house, so they always had some sort of excuse. So we pretty much took care of everything that someone needs for prepping their own meals, minus putting an IV in them and giving a feeding tube or something like that.
But you overcame all the objectives initially that were the most prominent, I guess, excuses that you would hear. Well, you know, my daughter and I were just having a conversation yesterday. I'm very proud that I've smoked most of my life, and I've stopped. I quit. It'll be 7 months.
Congrats.
May 7th. So really excited about that. Thank you. And it is quite an accomplishment. I don't know how I've done it, and really I feel now as a non-smoker, 7 months. I mean, my goodness. 2 months is the longest I've ever gone in the past, so just being at 7 is quite an accomplishment. But it has shifted and changed my entire metabolism. Weight, of course, I'm up 20 plus pounds. You know, it's really changed. So I'm having a conversation with my daughter and a friend the other day, and just about how you know, and I have changed a lot. I've changing coffee. I've changed. I'm not eating some of the things I was. I am working out now. But I mean, I don't want to give up everything. You know, so and the conversation was about eating right. And well, now if you adjust, now that you're healthier, now you're working out, now you know, eat. And then I think my main argument was, do you know how much time that takes? I mean, who has time to do that? I'd rather just put a frozen pizza in the oven.
We live in a time now where, Western culture has programmed us to live at or demanded us really to live at such a fast-paced lifestyle. And then you have influences of different types of technology and things like that we're always constantly needing to feel like we need to be on that go, to where food is almost like the last thing that we even think about. We just want that quick fix, or not fix, but that quick meal,
fuel,
I guess.
Fuel
there you
for
go.
us.
That's
I mean, we
perfect
just
word
need
for it.
something, but it's interesting. I think too, is working as much as I have, and just, especially, when I was smoking and different, I mean, you just need to kind of conquer hunger, but I would almost forget that I hadn't eaten.
That's huge.
Forget that I hadn't eaten. And then over time, but, then food almost becomes a crutch, and gives us something to look forward to. Tonight when I eat. So I've learned that there's different ways to look at food. One, just a quick fuel fix, and then there's others that it becomes something we look forward to, and it's an event.
Food is in our culture, food is something that it brings us all together. We should be eating all of our meals together with friends and families, be able to experience moments with each other. And so there's a lot of emotion programmed into our DNA that wants us to have that sense of connection with food, but also at the same time, with the Western, we are always constantly wanting to get that fuel into our body to make sure we're running and operating efficiently. So it's almost like a balance, because if you eat, with a bunch of people if you eat with a bunch of people every single day for every single meal, you might fall behind, say, on your work or in your average day-to-day life, essentially.
Right. No, that's true.
Yeah.
And I think, obviously our culture, fast food, and being able to go through a drive-through and the convenience of eating. But there's a lot of work. Well, I mean, when you're not using rebuilt meals, there's a lot of work involved in preparing our own meals to try to eat healthy.
I like to say we're somewhat of a master of preparing meals now.
Here might be a difficult question for you, but for someone that may not be a fan of eating well and eating great, or eating healthy.
Yeah.
And I guess, I have trained my mind from regular Coke to Diet Coke, or just different things, and I guess I could alter. But how do you make that? How do you recommend making that transition to now?
I would
more of a bland diet. And I guess I'm not saying, healthy food.
Yeah.
I like my junk food.
That's the most common misconception with healthy food, is that people think that eating healthy is going to equal bland, and then when people think of healthy food equaling bland, they think of a diet or healthy eating as a short-term thing.
And it has to be lifestyle.
And it has to be very much lifestyle. So when people go into their diet, they fail before they even started the diet, because they are looking to achieve a goal and they don't have expectations or don't have a ambition to continue that healthy lifestyle eating, because they've already pre-programmed themselves to think that healthy eating is going to be bland. And so that's how they go into the diet, with that mindset. And so when we started Rebuilt, when it was kind of organically growing, my girlfriend, so I'm very, very simple. Chicken, broccoli, and rice every day, all day. I can eat for breakfast, lunch, dinner. I was totally fine with that. At least then I transitioned into a plant-based style meal plan now, and eat a little bit more diverse since I have the company. But it was chicken, broccoli, and rice every single day for me. And so she wanted me to meal prep for her also. And my meal prep was very much the definition of bland eating. But
you worked out back then as well, right? So you were working out. That's kind of what you do.
It was just food was fuel. That's all. That's it. I knew that this food was going to equal this result and this performance, and that's all that really mattered to me. She had a different outlook on food. Her viewpoint of food was, I want buffalo wings. I want pizza.
That sounds like me. Yeah.
I want lasagna. And those things are great. Those are good too, in moderation. And so when I made her meals, her first meal, she had her breakfast, next meal, chicken, broccoli, and rice. Ate it. She said, this is great. This is awesome. Super excited about meal prep. We had dinner, which was, again, chicken, broccoli, and rice. And she says, this is awesome. I love these meals, but I'm having chicken, broccoli, and rice again. What's for lunch tomorrow? And I was like, chicken, broccoli, and rice. Yeah. And she's like, so what's for dinner tomorrow? I go, chicken, broccoli, and rice. And she looks at me dead in the eyes, and she's like, if I have chicken, broccoli, and rice every single day, I will fail. And so that's when she told me, she's like, she wants the pizza, the Alfredo, the lasagna. So what I had to do is I had to figure out how to take traditionally unhealthy dishes and make them healthy and keep the flavor in them. And so where the term rebuilt meals came from was that we take traditional style dishes and we, like the examples that I gave, and we rebuild them into healthy dishes. Because what's happened in a lot of the food industry is we take what used to be a healthy meal and then we have substituted a lot of the healthy ingredients for cheaper products or cheaper ingredients to keep the same flavor but take away the nutritional value of the actual food itself. And so we've kind of reversed that and gone back to the roots, where we've taken those healthy dishes or those unhealthy dishes that used to be healthy and we've remade them healthy. So we've rebuilt traditional dishes into healthy food. So that way we don't have to you don't have to sacrifice your flavor in order to get healthy food. And you have variety, yeah. So we have a new menu that comes out every week, and we're always trying different things. We have different influences and inspiration from different cultures, from friends, our customers, our clients, all of them. They always feed us suggestions on what they would like to see on the menu, and we try to implement those so we can always keep it new and refreshing, and so you don't get bored of bland food. So
yeah, you don't have to have chicken, broccoli, and rice every night.
Yeah, so eat rebuilt meals, or it is it's very possible to eat healthy and not have to sacrifice the flavor. You don't have to eat bland foods. You can use fresh herbs and different types of seasonings. Salt's not a bad thing to use. You can use salt as well.
Is that so? You don't have to stay away from that completely.
Yeah, so
I guess in moderation.
It's moderation, really. The body needs salt to live in order to be sustainable. And so sometimes we've been taught that we want to have low sodium and no salt at all added into our diets, when again you want to have a moderation of salt inside of your diet.
Well, I think the biggest takeaway too is setting yourself up to succeed versus fail, and kind of knowing going in it that really anything that we do needs to be a lifestyle change and not just
quick fix.
Otherwise as soon as you go back to your normal ways, or what is normal for you,
very much.
Then you're going right back into potentially putting on weight or being then unhealthy.
Yeah.
And really, you really dedicate a lot of time and effort into it. So I want to talk a little bit more about that.
Sure.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back more with Chandler Jerrico, Rebuilt Meals. Don't go away.
This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by TrueLeaf on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Welcome back to Getting the Edge. I'm your host, Kelly Wilson. So excited to be here with you today. Thank you so much for joining us. I know there's a ton of different things out there you could be watching, so really excited that you chose to be a part of Getting the Edge today. Really excited to have Chandler Jerrico on our show. He is the founder and CEO of Rebuilt Meals, and pleasure to talk with. Thank you for being with us. You know, I could be schooled, or I need quite a bit of schooling on eating right, but you know, one thing at a time. I just talked before the break how I've stopped smoking. I smoked forever, actually half my life, I guess, and really excited that I'm not now. But it has, I used to be able to eat whatever I wanted. I mean, literally, I could eat a whole pie in the middle of the night, and it wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
And granted, I am getting a little older, but I mean, I still have been able to eat whatever I wanted. And it wasn't, I'm telling you, stopping smoking changes your entire metabolism. Like, everything changed. And I've talked to some other people that have gone through it, and they're like, yeah, I mean, I'm not eating more. In fact, I'm probably eating less, because now I have to really be aware of it. It's just amazing. But I'm very happy that I'm not. But I do need to become more health conscious and aware, and limit my pizzas and lasagna, and I don't eat that many burgers anymore. You know what's crazy is I love pot pies. My trainer that I work out with, anyway, I'll give a little shout out to Body by Design. I love Mark over at Body by Design in Davis Island. But anyway, he told me I can't eat pot pies anymore. So I love. And you mentioned buffalo earlier.
We do have pot pies on the menu.
Do you really?
Yeah. So you can.
I love the buffalo pot pies anyway, but they're like 1,000 calories and like 20 million grams of fat. It's terrible. So I've tried to limit them. Anyway, but you know, one thing at a time, and I think that's a lesson too that we can all take in, and it's about creating expectations of ourselves and setting us up to succeed versus fail. And that's even like with myself. You know, granted, I've stopped smoking. I've cut back. I've eliminated the pot pies as far as the unhealthy ones, and I've made some good decisions, but I can't expect me to change everything all at once. I mean, I have to allow myself baby steps and in order for me to succeed. I think from trying to stop smoking over the years multiple times, and trying to, you know, they try to diet over and over. That's why dieting, and I can only imagine what the revenue is like for the diet industry. But anyway, you know, it's a matter of learning by mistakes that maybe what didn't work. Like one of my favorite is, I always mess up all the quotes. Thomas Edison, I found 10,000 ways it won't work, right? Instead of,
I found one way that would.
And then you find one that will. So you really learn what works for you, and then you take it in.
That's the biggest thing. Right. It's huge. Is finding what works for you.
And the biggest thing that you mentioned earlier was the whole lifestyle change. I mean, it's not just a quick fix, it is a lifestyle change, and I think that is what will set you up to succeed.
Our goal is you said it so perfectly said, because our goal is not to have people on the meals for the rest of their life. The goal is to be able to empower people so they have the knowledge on how to prepare their own food for themselves, because we live in a world where there's so much knowledge out there that we don't know where to believe or who to believe, and so we don't even know who to trust, so we stop trusting ourselves, and really our intuition is going to be the best judge on what we should and shouldn't eat. Like, does a cookie sound like something you should or shouldn't eat? So a lot of people just don't have that very simple knowledge, and then you're able to kind of just listen to your body. And so cutting the smoking out for you is huge. Again, congratulations. Thank you. That is an amazing achievement, because I have parents that smoke, and I've seen the struggles that they've been going through and trying to quit, and they understand what it's doing to them, and I've seen them be off for, say, 4 months, 5 months, and then go back on, and kind of like that roller coaster. And I guess the hormonal changes, and the fluctuations. And so when you can cut that stimulant out of your body, you can really narrow down and focus and tune in onto what your body wants and what it needs, because your body's going to tell you exactly what you want and exactly what you need. And if you can be so in tune to listen to it, you'll always be able to kind of go with the flow, for better say.
And I guess I should expect there to be some kind of changes, especially after you've had a chemical, like you kind of just said that, oh, wow, yeah, you're right, in my body that I took in a lot for half my life. So of course there's going to be some major adjustments. But you said something too that in reference to, there are so many people out there with an opinion, and everybody's trying to be an expert in something. So I just think, and it's really hard to tell like what is true fact versus opinion. So a lot of the times I would think, again, listen to your own instincts
Yeah.
and what you think to be true and relevant for you,
Yeah.
because otherwise you're always going to be confused based on someone else's opinions
Yeah.
of what may work and what may not. We know what's best
You
for
can
us.
Google, if you go to like find out what's wrong with you, and you go into Google and you're like, I have a cough, and everything that shows up is gonna lead to you like dying.
Right,
Like some
yeah.
crazy drastic
Yeah.
thing. And so like there's
Beware of that,
there's a
right.
lot of crazy information out there. Some of it has small truth in it, but really like if you're going down to diet and you're trying to understand like what's healthy, what's not healthy, if it has more than one ingredient in it, meaning like if you look on the back of a box of cereal and has 30 different ingredients in it, it probably had to go to a factory or somewhere to be made, processed, packaged, and distributed. But an apple is just an apple. So opt in towards an apple versus into, say, like even if it is Cheerios or whatever brand of cereal is that you like. So sticking to that minimal amount of ingredients is going to be the best way. It comes from earth, kind of comes from nature, and you're able to use
and
it.
I don't want to get into the whole other topic for another show, maybe perhaps
Yeah,
someday.
yeah.
But the whole cereal world, like and like all the disclosure, and I don't even know. I've just heard bits and pieces just about some of the chemicals that were released that are made knowledge. And I'm sure, I mean, it's all on the back, but nobody really.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, you just really never know. So yeah,
So
that's
a lot of
little
them
scary.
they're a lot of the cereals on the market today are made with whole grains, so they must be healthy for you, since they're made with whole grains.
You think so? At least that'd be
they
my
have
mentality,
to be.
right?
They absolutely have to be, and like disregard all the sugar and the fats and all the other chemicals and stuff they add in, but they're made with whole grains, so they have to be healthy for you. And so that's the
Misconception.
Yeah, that's the misconception, or even like the misleading marketing tactics that a lot of the food industry is using in order for us to buy their product, because they see that people want to be healthier, so they're taking advantage of it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So
Whole nother topic for another day, or
Right.
it could be for today, either one. But it's just being in the food industry, you see these things, and it's almost it's like almost frustrating to see that people are trying to better their lives, and it's like almost impossible because they're being fed the wrong information, or they're having a plethora of information they think's true, and it's being used against them through marketing tactics.
it's interesting, I think, as entrepreneurs and business professionals, business owners and executives, we are always on the go, and most of us work a lot. And most
Yeah.
of us aren't taking care of ourselves. We take care of everybody else. We take care of the business. We take care of everything else. But a lot of us do neglect ourselves. And I think this is maybe like a self-awareness kind of opportunity as well, self-reflection, where we can kind of really think about two ways that it's interesting. I worked and worked and worked for so long that I was always going. A little older now too, and maybe just feeling a little. Once I don't know, experience some more growth too, so you get to a point where you're a little more. You give yourself a little more leash, I guess. But and I do try to work out and try to keep my mind healthy, and I know that the elliptical does help stress levels and
Yeah.
helps you deal with things. And it goes back to I don't know, for a while I even did the shakes,
Yep.
like and meal replacements. But I
Yep.
think it is so simple, right? Because you've made it
Yeah,
simple
absolutely.
that you are able then to kind of take some time for ourselves and
Yeah.
evaluate what's best for our own bodies.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I've learned so much along the way. Even the back issues I deal with now, had I not sat certain ways over the last so many years working for 10 hours at a time,
Yeah.
I would not be experiencing the things that I'm experiencing now. So I just,
Mm-hmm.
learn from what we've gone through.
There's so many little things that we do throughout the day that we totally don't even
Right.
recognize or we're paying attention to because we're so distracted by everything else.
And what works for right now in that moment. I think a lot of times
Yeah.
we don't look at the bigger picture of things.
Yeah.
And
The sitting was a huge thing I have a stand-up desk that I pop up and I stand, and I work most of the time standing up, because a lot of times when you're working on a computer, your shoulders are kind of hunched over, you're bent over, you're compressing your diaphragm, so you're not getting full oxygen, your lungs aren't filling up completely, you're putting pressure on your lower back, and so just from sitting long periods of the day, you're causing a ton of different types of, I guess, I don't really know what the right word would be, but if it's done over long periods of times, it can lead into injuries, or it can lead into imbalances of some sort.
absolutely. Well, I'm living proof of that one. I don't think we're young and we don't feel the pain, and you know, you don't. And then as you get older, some of the you kind of start seeing the consequences of things, and that's, I think, a lot of the reason why I wanted to stop smoking when I did, because before I've worked so hard to kind of be where I am. I want to be able to, you have to become aware. And like your parents, my mother, in fact, she passed away years ago, still smoking, and she never really could bring herself to stop. And I know so many people can't.
A lot of people, they say that they're like, oh, it's too late to start, or it's too late to stop, or even too late to start. And one thing that my mentors have always told me is that it's never too late to start. Like, you always, like, today is the best day to start, whether you're 100 years old or 10 years old, 20 years old, whatever the age is.
And that goes with everything in our life, right?
Yeah, like, it's never too late to start. And so a lot of people, they get stuck into the mentality of like, yeah, it's too late. And it's just good to know that you can start whenever you want.
And it's never too late. I think, at any age, at any time in our lives, we can decide to make the decisions to live a better way, whatever that better way may mean for us, right? So, the healthy part is on my list of, and very soon list, like I said, and it's about setting realistic expectations for yourself and setting myself up to succeed. So, and great, we're all very fortunate that you've created a company where you've kind of taken some of the old time meals that we all love and rebuilt them into a more healthy style. And you have delivery, like, also all over, right? You actually cover the pretty much the Tampa Bay region. Is that correct?
Yeah, with Amazon, pretty much made delivery to everything you possibly ever need being delivered to your house so easy that we had to make sure that we kept up on that curve. And so we took it to that next step, is delivering it directly to their doorstep across, soon to be across the state, not necessarily just yet, a few months.
Yeah, that's great.
But as far as north as Spring Hill, down all the way down to Sarasota, southern tips of Sarasota. And so that way, people literally all they have to do is, we thought about changing the name to the company to Push Button Meals, because it was so easy just to push a button and you had meals delivered right to your doorstep.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. Rebuiltmeals.com, is that right? For the website. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that, and we'll be right back. We'll take a quick break. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by TrueLeaf on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Welcome back to Getting the Edge. I'm your host, Kelly Wilson. Thank you so much for being with us today. Make sure you check out the new issue of Edge Business Magazine. You can go to our website, edgebusinessmagazine.com, or our Facebook page at Edge Business and look through the digital version right there online. A lot of great articles, a little bit of something for everybody. So again, with Edge, one of my favorite lines is, it's not only business, it's personal. And it really is for all of us. And I appreciate you being here. And even during the break, I'm like, can I talk to you? Can we go get personal and really kind of talk and learn from you? And of course, yeah, you said yes. And that is, so rebuiltmeals.com. Highly recommend the company. You know, I've mentioned before, so Edge is, we publish our business magazines. We provide platforms filled with hope and inspiration, I'd like to think. But we're also a full-service PR and marketing company. And we have different clients and products that we work with often. And we have a wonderful team of great, diverse individuals with a lot of different areas of expertise. I had reached out to you a while back in regards to helping a company that I was representing, finding kind of a connection and needing some help and needing some information and a partnership and for something they were doing. And, you know, it's interesting. Some of the larger companies, and I had reached out to you that day, I didn't hear back from. Yeah. And I did from Rebuild. Yeah. And that says a lot, too, about the time that you take out to reach out to the local community that needs support and wants to kind of work with you. And so I commend you for that. I appreciate, and I appreciate, thank you for being a part of that and being willing to work with the community. And I hope, you know, we all get to the point where we grow and we get bigger, but I think understanding that importance of the community relationships and helping one another is great to you know, keep in part of our regular routine. So again, I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And so we've taken the time and had some time to talk and get to know Chandler, and really just kind of to be a younger person, which I don't, you know, you just feel like he's like an older soul, and not the young ones. I mean, you know, we all kind of mature at different ages, whatever. I don't want to have to pull myself out of that one any further, but you know, you really have impressed me, and you are like an old soul. You really learn from your experiences and what you've gone through at such an early age, and just really taken that and have applied that into bettering your life and those around you. So tell me a little bit about how did Rebuilt start, or maybe take us back even from that. Where did you grow up originally? Are you from Tampa?
So I'm not from Tampa. I mean, I guess it depends. I moved around a whole bunch. So between the ages of 5 and 10, I went to almost 20 different elementary schools. We floated around a lot, from Texas, almost every state you can think of. I was born in Texas. Traveled around there, going to different elementary schools, lived with my grandma, lived with my mom, came over here to Florida.
Was it a military-oriented family? Or
no, it was, my mom wasn't, my family actually that I was living with wasn't able to hold a stable job at the time. And whatever contributing factors that was, I probably really don't know right now, but caused us to move around. So we were always getting pushed out from one house going into the next. So I had to learn how to make friends really fast. I had to learn to pretty much be likable really fast if I really wanted to have some sort of social dynamic in my life. Obviously, you're not thinking about social dynamic when you're younger, but I learned how to pick up social skills very, very quickly. And
it wasn't just that you were moving around in one particular city, it was in multiple cities.
I was changing schools, I was changing homes, I was not getting attached to friends because I knew that I was just going to end up moving again in 3 or 4 months. And so that took me all the way over here to like Newport Richie, and that's where I kind of like started going to high school at. And went through all high school, and then I moved around a bunch even after that. Like that trend when I was younger carried on all the way up until I would even say like maybe 2 years ago, where I was moving every single 6 months, moving from Wisconsin, trying to launch a business over there, moving down to Miami, moving to Naples, where I launched another business over there, coming back to Tampa. And so I kind of always moved around a whole bunch, but the big reason that I moved around so much was because when I was younger, one of the main fights that I always heard my parents having is that they're fighting over money. They always fought over money, and it was that we didn't have enough of it, so we had to move and go somewhere else. So very early on, I was programmed to understand that money is what's going to buy happiness. And I was very wrong.
Right.
But my whole entire life, that's what I was programmed. All the way, 7 years old, I was washing cars. Or actually, I wasn't washing cars. What I did is I knocked the doors, and I would ask people if they wanted a car wash, and then I had my sister go wash the car. Then I'd go knock the next door. And so that was kind of like my first business when I was 7 years old. I went through college, and during my college classes, I was just focused more on how can I build a business and make money? How can I get out of college and make money? Did door-to-door sales, and just everything that I did focused on how can I make money, because I thought when I got here, I thought I was going to be happy. When I did this, I don't need to be happy today. I'm going to be happy tomorrow when I achieve this. And so when I was 23, I was out of college. I was leaving the car or selling cars, and I was about to start my first official business. And this was a very lucrative business. I was making more money than I ever made before when I launched it, and we grew it to 7 figures in less than 2 years. Wow. And that's when I was 23 years old. And so being 23 years old, making a substantial amount of money, like you have everything that you need, like I wanted a car, so I got a car. I wanted to have my own place, so I got my own place. I wanted to be able to go to, 23, I wanted to be able to go to the bars and the clubs and impress my friends with how much money I had. I wanted to pay for them. I wanted to take family out to dinners. And I was able to do all these things, and it's still, when I got to that point of achievement, it still didn't bring me any happiness. It didn't bring me anything. It really brought me a sense of external excitement. And then when I went home at night, I still laid down by myself. I still laid down thinking there had to have been more. And so there's a pivotal move in my life when I was...
It's almost like a drug in a sense, where you have that high for that moment, and then you get back to reality.
Exactly.
Of what, and
it was always like I wanted, when I achieve this, then I'll be happy. I was putting happiness onto the side burner in order for me to sacrifice today. And that's what a lot of entrepreneurs are doing today, is they're sacrificing, they're trying to do the hustle, trying to do the grind. They're sacrificing everything in their life today to achieve something for tomorrow. But really, there's a really good quote from, I'm probably going to butcher it, but there's a quote that Buddha has, and it basically says that success does not bring happiness. Happiness is found in success, or something along those lines. But basically he's saying, like, if you think success is going to bring you happiness, you're very, very mistaken. You're very wrong. It's the happiness is what brings success. And so people have to learn how to be happy today and grateful and appreciative for what they have today in order to be successful or to create the success. And it's not when you get somewhere you're going to be happy. You need to learn how to be happy now.
Right.
And
it's
so
enjoying the journey.
100%. And that's, one of the biggest things that I talk about is you have to enjoy the journey. It's not about the destination. It's about enjoying the processes and the trials and tribulations that you go through of the failures. If you fail, bask in that failure. Love it. Enjoy it, because that failure is never going to hurt as bad as what it is that day, because every day you're going to feel a little bit better. And so through that whole journey, I pretty much learned that money wasn't going to buy me happiness. I was in a very dark time in that stage of my life, and I'm like, I need to make a radical change. So I sold my business. I sold everything I owned. I sold everything except for my truck and a couple pairs of clothes that I had, and moved here to Tampa and launched an online digital marketing company because I wanted to help other people. I wanted to help people lose weight. I was a personal trainer, and realized that I genuinely like being in front of people and being able to make the impact in front of people. And I started to be able to follow and find my passion and my purpose almost down that path. And that's kind of how Rebuilt started.
By accident.
By complete accident, because of Jasmine, and I had a couple friends coming to me saying they don't have time to cook food. And so I started cooking food from them. And then before you know it, from in a matter of 60 days, I went from cooking 15 meals a week for myself to cooking 300 meals in a little single home family kitchen. I'm have all my friends helping me, have my sister in there, have my girlfriend in there. It's like a sweatshop for cooking food. I guess sweatshop cooking food probably isn't too appealing.
It doesn't really go together too
well. If you can
well.
kind of think of that analogy, we had a bunch of these people in here inside this little single home family kitchen that's maybe 12 foot by 12 foot, trying to make food for other people. And then we started to realize that community, this is something that you were talking about a little bit before, is the community was ready to help on a dime. The people, the friends and the relationships that I've built, the people I've connected with over the years, I told them I needed help, and there was no hesitation. They came in, joined in. They're like, what can we do to help? We want to see you succeed. We want to see this becomes something much bigger. And so without the community, Rebuilt wouldn't be where we are today. We wouldn't have had the success that we've had. We wouldn't have the support that we had, because community is something that I've never really had in my life. I've literally never had a community of people that cared about me or about what we were doing until a few years ago, when they stepped up to the plate and showed how much support they're willing to put in through Rebuilt.
Yeah.
And so that created a massive urge inside of me to want to be able to give back to my community continuously and continually, like over and over and over again, whether it was small, big, large, doesn't matter. I just always want to be able to support other people and their ventures and their journey. And like, I want people to learn from maybe some of my trials and tribulations.
Right.
If they don't learn anything, that's totally fine.
Well, that's what I think is just amazing, that you've been able to take your experiences and everything that you've kind of been accustomed to, and you learned so much from that. And you are you're an amazing individual, and I'm very happy to share your story. Now, you are very entrepreneurial minded, obviously, but during this period, especially like when you left and you sold everything, have you ever considered getting a job? Like, did you ever get to the point where before the marketing company, did you think, I just should just go work for somebody? Or no, did that not even ever pop into your mind?
There were slight thoughts that popped into my head. I think that I was almost like not even an option.
Right. It's usually not for very strong entrepreneurial
I think what the big thought process was for me then, because back then, like, I was still thinking very like entrepreneurial, like I was still gonna hustle and grind type of mindset. Like, I knew that money wasn't gonna buy me happiness, so stop chasing money.
Right.
Like, stop chasing the dollar. There's gonna be more. When you make $100,000, there's gonna be 200 that you want. When you make $1 million, there's gonna be a 2 million that you want to make.
You're always setting new goals.
Just always setting, and you're chasing. What is that? What do they call it? Chasing the dragon or chasing the unicorn? Something like that.
Not heard of that, but okay.
Yeah, one of those two, something like that. You're always chasing the next goal.
No, it is true. And once we get and achieve something, it's like, okay, well, now we have to have new goals and our eyes set on something else.
Yeah.
And
I was always doing that. All the time.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I had talked to someone years ago and asked, will I ever be satisfied? Will there ever come a point in my life where I'm going to say, this is it? I can kind of take a breath and relax.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, you're most likely not. So anyway, we'll talk a little bit more about that. I want to take a quick break. Don't go away. We'll be right back more with Chandler Jerrico.
This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by TrueLeaf on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Welcome back to Getting the Edge. I'm your host, Kelly Wilson. Thank you for being with us today. Enjoyed very much Chandler Jerrico of Rebuilt Meals. Thank you for being with us today. Again, just so impressed by the wisdom that you have kind of really undertaken and share with others. And I think that is truly part of your purpose in life, is sharing what you've learned and where you're going and what you're doing. I definitely, I can feel it. I mean, I'm really serious. We talked a little bit about chasing the dreams. I mean, chasing dreams, we always want to have dreams and goals, but they have to be set, and we have to be after the right things. Whether it's creating platforms filled with hope and inspiration, which I know sounds corny, but those are really my kind of dreams. Whether it's educating others, but it's not so much about chasing the money. That just is not really ever going to get you that far. One of the questions I always ask in my interviews is, what are you driven most by? Is it purpose, passion, or money? Sometimes I get money, but ultimately when you have people as driven and focused entrepreneurs or executives, I mean, most of the time they're going to say they're in a field where they're passionate, or they are really fulfilling a purpose that they feel like they have. I think we are accustomed to living a certain way, and for you it was how you were raised, in a sense of being after the money, and that the money would bring you happiness. So you mentioned something in break I thought was really key, was that you still find yourself doing that sometimes, but you're aware of it.
Yes.
So tell us, just recap that, what you mentioned.
Yeah, so I am continuously working on myself, always. Like, the biggest thing right now is that people are unaware of the voice that's going on inside their head and the habitual actions that they have throughout the day. They're unaware of what they're doing, and so they fall almost like victim in the sense of their pre-programmed instincts, their habitual actions.
Right.
And I am still very much of a victim, essentially, if you want to call it that, but I'm very aware. And so I'm always setting new goals and new ambitions, and I'm always trying to achieve these goals and ambitions. And I have to be aware of that so I don't get too caught up in it.
Right.
Because you don't want to create imbalances in your life. You don't want to be working 15 hours a day for 3 years, because then you're going to burn out you're going to exhaust all your capacity, your mental capacity to be able to sustain that. It's unsustainable. And you want to be able to, it's consistency over the long period of time. And so if I'm aware of it, I can analyze it and I can almost balance it out on the fly, if you will.
Well, and that whole victim mentality almost paralyzes us, or it can, from moving forward or making the decisions to get us out of that victim type state. Mm-hmm. So being aware of the choices, and that you can continue to kind of live that way, or being aware that there are other options.
Yeah.
I always say it's harder. I should take my own advice sometimes too, and it's not easy. Easier said than done with a lot of things we talk about on the show, but it's not so much about the destination, it's the journey. And and we all get caught up in the everyday moments of things and what I have to get done, and what if this doesn't work out or doesn't happen. It's interesting too that I have found that everything that I thought was supposed to have gone a certain way, when it didn't, when you see things through, it was actually the best thing that could have ever happened.
Yeah.
But a lot of times we don't see that, So again, it's, I always say, try to relax and just take it all in. And time goes so fast, especially, being in my 40s now and being able to reflect back on my earlier day. Like, wow, time just goes so fast.
A lot of us, we don't live presently enough, is really what it is. And so a lot of that time, the reason time goes by so fast is because we're thinking about the next thing, we're thinking about the future, or we're thinking about what we've already done and in the past. So we're living not in present moments, we're living in future or past all the time. And so in that time frame, where we're living is inside of our own mind, and time is never going to stop. It's always going. The world's always going around the sun and all of that.
It's one thing we can't ever get back. I mean, when time is gone, it's
most
gone.
Valuable asset anyone has.
And there are no guarantees. I mean, we really don't know how much time we have or what, it's so interesting for me too to read kind of memoirs of these great, amazing, very focused people like ourselves even. If you look at Steve Jobs' last days or any of these people that Tuesdays with Morrie is a book that I doubt you know about it, but he's actually was on, the gentleman that wrote the book was on one of Oprah's shows, and that was one of the books that I've read but in the last year. But Tuesdays with Morrie was about a guy that wrote a book, and it was about an older man that he sat with in his final days and wrote his memoir in a sense of, and it was all the things that, I mean, those people have all the information. I mean, they've already been there, done that. They're at the end and they're reflecting back. And it's all on what we talk about. Living for today, being mindful, embracing and embracing the journey, not the destination. Easier said than done, though. I get it. But yeah, I mean, it's. There's just so much to be taken in. But I commend you again because a lot of times it is in our 40s that we become finally, and maybe even later, that we finally get to a point where we can learn from all of our experiences and kind of move forward. And I'm sure you've seen it. A lot of the people you sit down with, we surround ourselves in our own world with people that we want to grow with, right? So we limit who we let in and take our energy. But, I'm sure you've met others that don't think the way you do. A lot of people will just have life experiences and they continue to make the same decisions and they continue to have the same types of.
It's a lot of people.
It's definitely
a lot of people.
Like in our parents, and I'm sure and going even reflecting back, mine are past now, but that same thing with mine. They didn't really look at like, okay, how can I break this chain, or this circle of events that just keeps circling, right?
Yeah, exactly. The vicious.
How can I get off
cycle.
this hamster wheel and really try to make some positive changes in my life?
Even family members, it hurts. It hurts to see family members a lot of times that are just like stuck in that vicious cycle of continuously doing the same things over and over. And one of the biggest things is that I can't change the biggest realization for me is that I can't change everybody's life. Everybody's on their own journey. And so they're going to come to that realization sooner or later, and all you can do is plant the seeds along the way and hope that they are going to grow. But it might be 20 years, might be 10 years, it might be 10 months.
You get there when you get there.
Yeah, it's all.
And that's kind of one of my favorite sayings. You get there when you get there, and it really is true. You may not understand me today, but you will someday.
You'll exert more energy trying to get this person to a certain point versus allowing them, just being there, holding space for someone, holding that space for them, and allowing them to feel open enough to be able to communicate with you and talk to you and express their self, but to the point where they're not also draining all of your energy and all of your resources to keep sanity and keep centeredness. But they'll reach that destination, that pinnacle moment, and I feel very, very blessed and fortunate to be able to have some of the events that have happened in my life for me to be able to have the knowledge. And all I want to do in my life, I feel like my purpose in life is literally to learn. Like that's all I want to do. That's all I want to obtain is just knowledge and be able to speak to others about the knowledge that I've acquired and be able maybe to bridge a gap from, say, like, Eastern culture to Western culture, what the bridge gap is, how we can integrate and make some philosophies and practices blossom.
Right. It's interesting, at 18, I was a mom very young, so at 18 I was a mom. I thought I knew everything. You couldn't tell me anything. But it's funny how that has declined every day since I was 18. I know less, it's just interesting. But I think too, one of the keys to really living a fulfilled life is understanding that we don't have all the answers and being able to admit that and say it. And just enjoy everyday learning. And that's another reason I feel blessed to do what I do. And I can learn something from younger people, older people, and people of all different levels of achievement. We all have a story.
Yeah, everyone has so much knowledge.
And a message.
We're multidimensional. Yes, we're multidimensional beings. meaning your perception of life is vastly different than my perception of life. Everyone inside of this area, like this town, like everyone's perceptions are living different realities. Like we're all physically here with each other, but between our two ears, we're all living in different different worlds.
Our perceptions, everything we take in are different.
Exactly.
And that goes back into communication and how we communicate with each other and our relationships and the benefit of relationships. And I think you seeing that as a business owner in the community is a huge accomplishment as well.
Yeah.
And just the fact of the movements that we can make together versus on our own.
There's like a small little saying that I think one of our partners, I think they use it all the time, but I love saying it, is that we're better together. And we're not in this world alone. We're actually all here together on this on the same mission, on the same, our main goal in life is to achieve happiness, peace, and serenity. And we create all these barriers and obstacles for ourselves to try to reach that, but really it's just super simple. We just all need to hold space and be there for each other.
Yeah, one of my favorite quotes is Henry Ford's, "If we're all moving forward together, success takes care of itself."
Yes.
And I think that's key. I remember now, I have flashbacks of you and I sitting down talking and going over quotes, and I like that one and I like that one. Yeah,
I wish I could remember all the quotes that I've had.
I have decided it's kind of fun to butcher them a little bit, and hopefully,
put your own take on them.
That's what it is. It's my own personal take on them. Again, I think you're quite an individual, and I think you have a strong purpose. And even beyond what you have, I know it's part of that is to touch and help others through their journeys, because you've and then that just goes to show too, our upbringings do not dictate where we end up, and we talked about cycles earlier. I mean, you've been a perfect example of breaking that and from what you've grown up with, and wow.
Know
so
everything
congratulations.
that happens. Thank you. And just everything that happens in life is for a purpose. There's a reason behind it. It's either making you stronger. It's either put there for a specific reason. Whatever it is, whatever actions or whatever things are happening to you in your life or for you in your life has a purpose to play. And so me moving around, everything
let it play out and see where it goes. So anyway, well, again, so happy for your success. Thank you so much for being a part of the show today. Thank you. Make sure you check out rebuiltmeals.com and check out their weekly changing meals.
Every week,
and you don't have to eat chicken, broccoli, and rice every day.
No.
Quite a variety. So again, thank you. Thank you again for being here. And make sure you check out us, gettingtheedge.com or edgebusinessmagazine.com on Getting the Edge every week. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you again next time soon. Thanks.